Why am I playing with cards, you ask? Well, each of these cards represents one of my subscribers. Because at the moment, I'm at 54. Because yeah, I keep the jokers in. Sue me. So, thank you. Thank you for doing that. And if you're one of those people who haven't subscribed yet, button's right there. Hello there, I'm Simon. Welcome to my channel. Today's topic is the pantheon. The Greek pantheon, to be exact. But I'm not talking about the Olympians. Today I want to introduce you to 12 deities that you might not know yet. Some might call these minor deities, but really they're just a bit more obscure. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say that these are in no particular order. Mainly because I couldn't be bothered to rank them. So it's not like I'm counting up or down to whatever the best one is. There's no best one here. So without further ado, let's go! Actually, no, not yet. One more thing to say. You may notice throughout this video that I tell you some details and facts about these deities. And if you happen to already know any of these, there's a chance that what I say might conflict with something you know about them. In such a case, please don't assume that what I'm saying is wrong, because when we're talking about Greek mythology, there's not really such a thing as wrong. There's a bunch of versions of these myths, and they often conflict, and yet they're all correct. Greek mythology isn't the kind of literary collection that has a continuity. This isn't the MCU. Throughout the ages, they have actually been rewriting myths in order to fit the narrative and morals that suited them. Like, sometimes you want Helena to get all the blame for the Trojan War. Sometimes you might want to paint her as a victim. My point is, if you hear anything that conflicts with what you know, just take it as an opportunity to learn about a story you haven't heard yet. With Greek mythology anyway. This doesn't really go for something like vaccines or astronomy. Anyway, let's get on with it. I'm gonna start with a goddess called Melinoe, or Melino, as I've been calling her. It's not accurate in any way, but it sounds good. So, who is Melino? She's a goddess of the underworld. Now, you may say, I thought Hades was the god of the underworld. And I suppose if anyone is the goddess of the underworld, it would have to be Persephone, right? Well, you're not too far from the truth, actually. Because her parents just happen to be Persephone and Zeus. Because 90% of everyone in Greek mythology is a kid of Zeus. Fun fact, just to show how weird and messed up Greek mythology can be, Persephone was also a kid of Zeus, which he conceived with Demeter, his sister, while he was married to his other sister. But I was talking about Melino. Because of her origins, which are both heavenly or Olympian and underworldly, that gives her a sort of duality, which is shown in her appearance by her skin, which is black on one side and white on the other. So Melino is quite literally Snow White. Anyway, Melino was the goddess of ghosts. She would travel the world at night with a bunch of ghosts in tow. Her name is derived from the Greek words melas, which means black for obvious reasons, and nous, which means thoughts. So she's literally called Black Thoughts. Anyway, moving on. Next up is a goddess called Philotes, or Philotes, or Phil for her friends. Then again, I think everyone qualifies as her friend, because she's actually the goddess of friendship. So I'm gonna call her Phil. Despite her friendly nature, her origins are actually surprisingly dark, in a very literal way. She's actually a daughter of Nyx, the goddess of the night. As such, she's also a sister of Eris, who started the Trojan War and stars in the YouTube series God School. Go check it out, it's awesome. Hashtag not spawn. Also, her father was Erebus, the primordial god of darkness. Phil, however, is the personification of friendship and affection, so I guess she's the black sheep of the family. Next up, Pion. This guy is the doctor of Olympus, because even the gods need a doctor. Not because they get the common cold or something. Certainly not because they run the risk of a plague. No, in that case they just go, Apollo, don't you dare. Yeah, plagues in Greek mythology are caused by Apollo shooting his bow. Like a very deadly Cupid. Let's be honest, makes a bit more sense. I don't think arrows are very fun to be hit with. I should probably get back to Pion. The thing is, I can't say much more about this guy, because we don't actually know that much about him. His parents, for example, are completely unknown, though I think I can guess the dad. Number 4 is one that you might have heard of. His name is Kratos. Yes, the guy from the God of War games. He's not actually the God of War though. He's actually the god of power and strength. That's what his name means. That happens a lot with these older chthonic deities. A chthonic deity is a deity that's more of a personification of a more abstract idea than they are a character, like the Olympians. And because of that, their names become the word for the thing they are god of. Or the other way around, of course. Anyway, Kratos is a son of Pallas. Now, this is not Pallas Athena. This is the Titan who used to be the god of warfare. At least until he was defeated by Athena, who then took his name to rub it in. Pallas was also the dad of Nike, goddess of victory. So this is a family who likes conflict. Anyway, Kratos' mom was Styx. Styx being the goddess who presides over the river Styx, which is one of the rivers that goes through the underworld. Number I'm losing count is someone called Aegipon, which is an amazing name. I'm just gonna say that. Aegipon is a Panis, which is a sort of spirit with part human and part goat-like features. Though in his case it was probably mostly goat. The clue is in name, people. Nomen est omen. Now, this guy doesn't seem to really be a god of anything specific. You could even argue he's not really a god. But he's a daimon, and that's close enough for me. The point is that he's important for one specific story, which is that when the giant monster Typhon, I'm not gonna explain who that is. If you want to know, I recommend reading Percy Jackson, The Last Olympian. When that guy attacked the gods, they were terrified. And a lot of them went running and disguised themselves as an animal. And that's what Aegipon did as well. Aegipon jumped into the water and tried to turn himself into a fish. But I guess he got stuck somewhere in the middle. So he turned himself into a half goat, a half fish creature. And that's where the constellation Capricorn comes from. Now, he's often considered to be the same, or like a version, of the god Pan. Then again, some other versions say he's the father of Pan. And still other versions say he's Pan's son. So I guess all we can say is that he's related to Pan. Next is a girl called Angelia, and you'll never guess what she's the goddess of. If you know a little bit of Greek, you'll know that angelos means message, or messenger. It has to do with messaging, which is also where the word angel comes from. So Angelia is the personification of messages. No wonder there's so many Greek gods. They just get a dictionary. Bottom line is that Angelia is basically a female Hermes, who also happens to be her dad. I can't find who her mother is, But I'm not sure gods really need two parents to have a kid. Or one, really. Wouldn't be the weirdest thing to happen in a Greek myth. But wait, there's more. Next up is a god called Anteros. He's the god of requited love, which is oddly specific actually. He's the god of not just love, but love that is also returned. But it's more interesting than that. He also punishes people who don't return the love that they get. So be nice or he'll hit you. I guess that's what happens when Ares and Aphrodite make a kid. No, seriously, those are actually his parents. As such, he is also a brother of Eros, or Cupid, if you want a Roman version. He also pretty much looks exactly like Eros, except his wings aren't the birdie kind, like his brothers, but are butterfly wings. Just to tell them apart, I guess. The next one is Asteria, the goddess of neuromancy, stars and astronomy. Guess what Asteria means in Greek? Stars. It means stars. Because of course it does. Her parents were Koios, a titan, and the titan goddess of intellect, Phoebe. She does have an interesting story to her though, which is that when Zeus was chasing her, what an unexpected plot twist, she escaped by first turning herself into a bird, and then she dove into the sea and became, get this, the Isle of Delos. That's right, she became an island. There's more. Because you may know Delos as the island where Artemis and Apollo were born. And that's not a coincidence, because their mother, Leto, was in fact her sister. Also, Asteria's daughter is the goddess of magic, Hecate. This one is an important one, who really doesn't get enough praise. This is Irene, or Irene if you prefer. I'm not gonna tell you what her name means, you'll figure it out soon enough. Irene is the goddess of peace and of the season spring. Greek gods are weird. You get like 5 deities who are responsible for pretty much the same thing, and at the same time there's deities who are responsible for like 10 different unrelated things. Apollo is the king of that. But I'm not talking about Apollo. Irene is one of 3 sisters, the others being Eunomia and Lyke, who are responsible for order and justice, respectively. And they all guard the seasons. They're called the Horai. She's a daughter of Zeus, obviously, and the Titan goddess Themis. God number n-1 is Horkos. Horkos is the personification of oaths. He is actually a companion of the goddess Dike, who I just mentioned. He was the one punishing the people who commit perjury, which means that you swear an oath not to lie, and then lie anyway. What else can I say? Parents. Well, reports vary. Some say he's a son of Ares. Others say his parents are Aether, the primordial god of light, and Gaia. The penultimate one, home stretch, is Zagreus. Zagreus is an early version of Dionysus, who appears in the Orphic Mysteries, which was a cult dedicated to Orpheus. His parents are Zeus and Persephone, which, if you've been paying attention, makes him a full-on brother of Melano. Apparently, Zeusy boy disguised himself as a serpent or a dragon to get her pregnant. Anyway, after he was born, Zeus, for whatever reason, decided to put him on the throne of heaven and give him the lightning bolts, the most dangerous toys imaginable. But of course, Hera didn't like that and sent the Titans to get rid of him. And they brought a bunch of toys and tricked him into letting go of the lightning, after which they proceeded to sorta cut him to pieces. Then Zeus, because he's a weirdo, recovered his heart and used it to make some sort of potion, which he used to impregnate Semele with Zagreus' reincarnated form, which is Dionysus. Finally is Hestia. Now, you might think that this one is kind of cheating, because she is, or at least was until Dionysus came along, an Olympian. And you might actually know her. If you don't, seriously, The Last Olympian. Read it. So, who is Hestia? Hestia is a daughter of Kronos and Rhea, like most of the Olympians actually. She's a sister of Zeus, Demeter, Hades, Hera, and the others. In fact, she's the eldest. What, you thought Zeus was the eldest? Nah, he's the youngest. A whole other story. Now, Hestia is probably the most important goddess, because she is the goddess of the hearth, the home, family. Which I guess says something about my values, huh? Also, like Artemis and Athena, Hestia was an eternal virgin. I think the most impressive thing about that is that Zeus was able to respect that. But that is why the Vestal Virgins, the Roman priestesses who praised Vesta, her Roman version, also had to be virgin, at least for the 30 years they served her. And that's 12! Do you like this stuff? Let me know down below if you want to see more of this, because there are so many deities. Let's do the YouTube thing. You know the drill, people. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. That's the technical term. Also, please click that like button, because you liked it, didn't you? Right? Yeah, you did. If you like nerdiness like this, please consider checking out my channel, and subscribe and ring the bell while you're there. It's completely free, and you get another nerdy video every week in return. And share the video all over the place. And with that, it's time to sign off. Thanks for watching.